Educators across the state and even here in Green Bay this morning holding an event to address Project 2025 and the impact it could have on public schools. The occasion also marks World Teachers Day. Several area teachers, along with Secretary of State Sarah Godlewski and Democrats seeking state Senate and Assembly seats, say if implemented, Project 2025 would not only slash funding for public schools, but abolish the Department of Education and Head Start, while giving tax cuts to the wealthy and big corporations. To fight back, educators today kicking off Canvas launches to better inform voters of what Vice President Kamala Harris is proposing to make education and child care more affordable, plus ease the burden of student loans.
I think they're difficult conversations. They're very difficult, but if we open ourselves to the discomfort, we can help people to see that democracy is what we all rely on.
Wisconsin GOP Chairman Brian Schimming released a statement about the campaign. It reads in part, quote, "While Democrats peddle lies and falsehoods about Donald Trump and Project 2025, an initiative that Trump has consistently condemned, Wisconsin Republicans are focused on lowering costs for working families, expanding school choice, and securing the border. These are the issues that matter to the millions of Wisconsinites who will decide this election," end quote. Donald Trump